Are you ready to stop shrinking to fit into someone else's version of success? Welcome to Illuminate Your Worth, the podcast that helps you remember who you are and reclaim your life. Hosted by transformation facilitator Heather Stewart, this is your space for soulful conversations, coaching insights, and reminders that you're not here to settle. You're here to shine. Now let's dive in.
So, I was having a conversation recently with a friend of mine who I was out on a kayak trip with, and she asked me if I knew this gentleman, Jordan Peterson. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about his rules of life, and it's about rules, but it came from this conversation. I am Heather, and I want to welcome you to Illuminate Your Worth. And your life by the rules. Rules, rules, rules. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and the rule is some rules are important. I have this philosophy of life that I only follow rules that I think are useful, like stopping at red lights and things. But if they aren't useful, then I'm not going to follow them, like white pants after Labor Day. What if I want to wear white pants? I don't care about that rule. My rules of life, I only have two rules of life that I live by, really. Number one is you got to breathe. People who take my yoga and my Tai Chi classes know this. The first rule of life is you must breathe. The second rule of life is don't cause yourself any unnecessary pain. Discomfort is different than pain for people who listened to the risk tolerance show. Discomfort is different than pain. I'm talking injury. I'm talking, broken bones and PTSD or something that needs to be treated. But rules, we often have these funny rules in our lives about the way things have to be done. And they don't always serve us very well, do they? I mean, you can take it to the extreme of someone, with OCD who has to lock and unlock their door 12 times before they can leave their house. That's a rule that they're living by. Is that useful? I don't think so. It helps them feel better. It helps them feel safe. But once is probably enough. But there's something going on there, right? And I've heard before, you have to follow the rules and then life will make sense. But really, nobody sent a rule book down with us. Nobody gave us a rule book. And the rule books that we get are ones that somebody else wrote based on their own fears and their own understandings. And some of the rule books that we're following are hundreds, maybe, I don't even remember how old some of these books are, thousands of years old. And they're from a different context and a different time. Maybe the essence of them is good, but really, do those rules still apply? So we're going to talk about rules and whether those rules are helpful for you. You're going to have to pause at some point and think about the rules you live your life by. And are they serving you? But where I wanted to start was that we aren't cookie cutters for sure. We're not cookie cutters. So I'm going to get into Jordan Peterson's. He's got 12 Rules of Life, which is a book. Now, full disclosure, I didn't read the book. Full disclosure, I asked ChatGPT what the 12 rules were in the book, and ChatGPT gave me a quick summary of what the rules were. And yeah, that's my guilty admission today. I have the rules, but I didn't read the book. But I don't really need to read the book to talk about the rules, right? I'm one of those people who likes to know the point of something and cut out all the fluff. There's people who like all the preambles and stories and Discord, and there are times when I like that, but a lot of time I just want to get to the point. So that's why I read summaries. So Jordan Peterson, if you don't know who he is, he's a fairly well-known fellow. He's Canadian. He talks about order and turning order into chaos and getting clarity when you're confused. And he is helping people. My friend listens to him quite regularly, and she likes what he talks about. So I thought, well, I'm going to go investigate this, and I wanted to see what his rules were, because any system that you go into, think about, there's rules about church is one that just comes to mind off the top of my head, because there's rules about church, when you stand up, when you sit down, when you say amen. There's rules about driving. There's rules about school. School has a lot of rules, doesn't it? And he's got rules for life. Now, interesting, when I printed it out, the most interesting one, the first one, I was like, wow, that's interesting. The first rule he has is fix your posture. And I thought, is that a good rule for number one rule? And I don't know if these are in order of importance, but the first rule he has is fix your posture. Now, of course, as a yoga teacher, I'm like, yeah, that's a good rule, fix your posture. But then I'm thinking, well, then I riff off of that. It's like, fix your posture. What does that mean? Does that mean that you walk around? When I was a kid, because my grandmother was British, we walked around with a book on our head to learn how to walk upright and tall and, you know, like a lady, like a lady. And I think about the reason, why is this a good rule? Let's think about that. So fix your posture. I think that's a good rule, because when you think about people, when you see someone, you can often tell as soon as you see them by their body language, some of their life story, perhaps, some of their mood, if they're kind of slumping and moving slow, and so that posture is terrible, by the way, because it compresses your diaphragm and you can't breathe properly. So it tells you right away that person is, someone depressed or down, or who feels small and not confident. If you fix your posture and you sit up straight and lengthen out through your spine, then you appear, at least on the outside, to be confident, even if the inside voice is telling you something different. But it also allows you to oxygenate properly. It allows you to breathe properly. It allows your blood to flow properly. It allows you to digest properly. All of the good things, so this body starts working the way it's supposed to. And when the body is working the way it's supposed to, you become more confident. Chicken, egg, you feel better. So I like this one. Fix your posture. I don't know if I would have put it number one, but I like fix your posture. Number two, which I love, and I think I would have put as number one, because if you do number two, then you'll do number one. He said, care for yourself the way you care for others. And of course, I love this one. I might have even said, care for yourself more than you care for others, because no one else is going to do it, right? It's like, who's better to take care of you than you? Who knows you better than you? Who knows what you need better than you? So if you take care of yourself first instead of last, then you will fix your posture. So I would think I would have reversed those two. And think about this. So there was this survey done a number of years ago, and I can't remember where it was from. If you really want to know, I'll look it up. And it was about the hierarchy of importance that women put on things. And interesting. It was so interesting. And I might get the order slightly wrong, so please don't give me a hard time. But first, I'm pretty sure, was children. Children were first, and then their husband. And then I can't remember whether their job was first or their pets were first. And then was them. So their kids are more important than them. Their husband's more important than them. Their pets are more important than them. Their job was more important than them. How is that helpful? So remember, my rule for rules is that it has to be helpful, and there has to be a good reason for it. So if your rule is that everybody else comes before you, how is that going to help you? You're teaching your children that they are more important than you. And in effect, you're teaching them that their children will be more important than them. You're teaching your husband that he is more important than you. So how do you expect him to um, recognize when you need something? Because he's more important than you. So your needs aren't as important as his. Even your dog. Now, come on. Yes, when your dog has to go out, you kind of have to take care of that. Maybe your pets wouldn't take advantage of you unless you have a cat. I've had cats. They do consider themselves the rulers. But and then your job, if you consider your job more important than your well-being, how is your job going to treat you? I'm sick, or I can't come in today, or I can't get this done. They're just going to keep piling on the work until you explode, right? So care for yourself slightly more than you care for everything else. The other hierarchy, you can decide your own hierarchy of importance, but definitely if you care for yourself the way you care for others, then you would treat yourself a lot better than you probably do. If the way that you speak to your spouse or your friends or at work is different than the way you speak to yourself, that's something to take a look at, right? If you would never say it out loud to someone, don't say it to yourself. And this takes a little bit of time to change. Just catch yourself. Just catch yourself doing these things, saying, I can't believe I just said that to myself. This is what I actually mean to say. So care for yourself. Now, it says care for yourself the way you care for others. So if you give people really good care, then care for yourself that way, but put yourself first. And then when you care for yourself, you'll fix your posture. Number 3, I like this one too, actually. Stick with people who want the best for you, right? So stick with the people who want the best for you. And this is, if you go back and listen to the What is Your Risk Tolerance? I talked a little bit about friends who I no longer have, who previous to making some changes in my life, I would have thought that had 100% had my back. I would have thought 100% they would have supported anything that I had decided to do if it was in my best good. What I discovered was they supported me as long as it didn't disrupt them too much, which is not really supporting me for anything in my best good, is it? I was making decisions for me, and they didn't stick with me. So I didn't stick with them. I appreciate the lessons. I appreciate the understanding. I appreciate the friendship we had. I appreciate the fun we had. But when I wanted to make a change for myself that was going to make me better, and they didn't want that for me, then I don't have time for that. I'm not going to chase them. I will grieve them, but I will not chase them. And if you go back and listen to that episode, I got a little verklempt. But the people that have in my life now, you can never be 100% sure, but I'm really confident that the people that I have in my life now want the best for me and are ready to stick up for me, are ready to help me if I need it, because I will help them. It's reciprocal. It goes both ways. You can't be a taker, 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 and you can't be a giver, giver, giver. There has to be a circulation. So the people in my life now who I've intentionally built my relationships with these people is to know that when I need that support, it's there. Even if I'm doing something that on the outside is mental, totally crazy. What do you mean she's going to go do whatever, go to Egypt and climb on the pyramids or something during wartime? They said, well, I think you're crazy, but go for it. Sounds like something you would do. That was in 2023. I did that. So stick with the people who want the best for you. They can play devil's advocate. They can have a conversation with you about it. But when it comes to when you are sure that it's right for you, they'll still stick with you, even if they don't agree with you, right? So those are the first 3 rules of life by Jordan Peterson. Fascinating. I actually really like most of them, I'm going to say. I'm going to speak about them and give you my own take on them because of course I've got my own take on things. But we're going to go to our first break. So, you are listening to Illuminate Your Worth on the Inspired Choices Network. This is You're Living Your Life by the Rules. What are the rules anyway? And stay tuned, come back. I'll see you in a minute.
What if your too much was actually your superpower? On Illuminate Your Worth, Heather Stewart guides you back to your truth with coaching, mindset shifts, and powerful conversations designed to light up every corner of your life, from career and creativity to wellness and worth. Tune in weekly and discover how to stop surviving and start thriving on your own terms. Listen to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart on the Inspired Choices Network and wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You're listening to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart. Want to connect live during the show? Join the studio audience in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send questions or coaching requests to info@heatherstewart.coach. Let's get back to today's episode and your path to a thriving life.
Yeah, come on over to the chat room, friends. I mean, seriously, you're going to sit there just listening. If you like having conversations, where are we? InspiredChoiceNetwork.com. Come to the chat room. Get engaged. Oh, yes. So, we're talking about Jordan Peterson's rules for life and Jordan's rules. And rules are helpful because then we don't have to think about things. We just do what the rules are. But at the same time, rules aren't one size fits all. We don't have a one size fits all life. We're all unique and individual. And I like to challenge rules because I want to make sure that those rules are right for my life, for the way I want to live. I don't want them to be rigid. I don't want to feel caged in. I have this whole freedom value. So if the rules are stopping me, then I'm not going to follow them. I'm going to be one of those crazy rebels. So we've covered the first 3, the fix your posture, which I would have made number 2. The care for yourself, the way you care for others, 100% down with that one. The stick with the people who want the best for you. Hallelujah. Yes, you should. So if there's people sucking the life out of you, that's what I talk about a lot in my Thriving Life method, by the way. My program to help you get your life in alignment. It's called the Thriving Life Method. And one of the things we talk about is the relationships you have, helping you navigate making some changes if you need to, in a way that's not too traumatic. Yeah. Now, number 4, improve your own game instead of playing others' games. So that's that conversation we've been having about who are you trying to be? I remember there was this coach that I saw, and it was so obvious to me that they were trying to be Awaken the Giant Within, whatever that guy's name is. Christine, do you remember that guy's name? It's gone straight out of my head. Because he's this big, loud guy, and this person, it was obviously not them. It's like you are acting in a way that you think is going to be helpful, but that's not your game. That's not your personality. That's not fitting the way you are in the world. So don't put on somebody else's outfit. It's like a little kid wearing their mom's high-heeled shoes and walking around with their lipstick on. She looks funny, right? So think about, is this who you really are? And maybe you need to take some time to know who you are. You can try on other people's outfits to see how they fit, but you've got to make it your game, not play their game. Mentors, coaches, all of these people, you can see how they do things. You can see how some of what they do does fit you. You can take parts of it, right? Improve your own game. Improve your own game. I've had clients ask me if I was religious. And I'm using this as an example. So I say, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I believe all of the religions are right, and I believe all of the religions are wrong. And what I mean by that is I can see the core of religions. If you go down to the core of all of these religions, and this isn't a show about religion, if you go down to the core of them, you can see that they all are trying to say basically the same thing in a different way. It's just all the other stuff on top of it that I just don't have time for, right? Yeah, so that was a side note. Number 5, teach your children to abide by society's rules. I don't buy that one. Sorry, Jordan. No, I'm not buying it. Teach your children to abide by the rules? No. Teach your children to think for themselves. Teach your children to be confident in who they are. Teach your children to question everything. Teach your children to understand the value of human life, the value of the earth, the value of animals and plants and the ocean and clean air and being a good person. Teach them all of those. Don't teach them society's rules. They'll learn them by themselves. As soon as they go into kindergarten. I mean, seriously, Jordan, come on. I don't want a bunch of automatons coming out of this place. I want people who are intelligent and can think for themselves. I want people who will debate with me in an intelligent way and not just troll and flame people on social media because they don't know how to carry on a conversation. That's what I want. So I don't agree with that one. Right? Now, the number 6 is get your house in order before criticizing others. Let's pause right there. Let's just not criticize others. Let's just take that out. Just get your house in order. Whatever that means for you. Maybe you just need to clean up. Maybe you like I am this mind who I make everything really tidy because I think it has to be tidy for me to do work. And then I mess it all up because I think better in clutter because there's more pieces and parts and things. But I think what he's talking about is, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, that kind of thing. So if you live your life the best you can with integrity to your values, treating people well, treating the environment well, being fair and equitable to all. At the end of every yoga class, I do a little Buddhist prayer about finding happiness and not being too attached to one thing or another and treating everyone as an equal, basically. Everyone and everything. So to get yourself in order, your house in order, I kind of get where he's going, and I'm going to cut it off there. Just get your house in order. Don't criticize people. You don't know people's stories. You don't know where people are coming from. You don't know their experiences. You don't know the life lessons that they are still working on. And criticism, if it's constructive in a way that you're trying to help them, perhaps, move to a new understanding, but don't do it uninvited or you just get pushback, right? So consider criticism as an invitation to give advice instead of criticizing. Number 7, focus on a This is interesting. Focus on a higher purpose, not instant gratification. That for me combines two different concepts, because for me, higher purpose is my spirit, my soul. This is the purpose that I am here for in life. Instant gratification is the box I have in the other room with chocolate in it. Those two aren't aligned, right? Well, maybe they are. I should consider that. But if you think about it, I think what he's getting at is don't do something for a short-term gain when you could do something different for a long-term gain. And he's talking about a higher purpose. For me, a higher purpose is on more of a spiritual plane than, I'm going to save $5 today, so I have $5,000 in the future. Linear kind of idea. So yes. Saver number 7, focus on a higher purpose, not instant gratification, is number 7. And if you define your higher purpose, well, if I define my higher purpose as helping obviously illuminate your worth is my higher purpose, right? So instant gratification for me, I don't know what that would be in terms of illuminating people's worth. I don't have a lot to say on that one. So let's go on to the next one. Number 8, find and live your personal truth. So find and live your personal truth. That for me is related to number 7, your higher purpose. So your personal truth is your values, what's important to you, why you're here. I like this one. And it's not a one and done kind of finding, because I have found my personal truth a couple of times. And I mean, they're all very related. So at one point, my personal truth was wellness. I'm going to make people healthy. That's my purpose in life. I'm going to make people healthy. I even did one of those MLMs selling protein shakes and things to try to help people eat healthy and be healthy, and massage therapy and yoga and personal training. And then my personal truth evolved to there's more than just the physical health, which is the Thriving Life Method. That's where that came from. There's more than just the physical health. We need to find our personal truth and let it evolve with us as we become more than we were. So who I was before is not who I am today. Who I was before as an accountant, the biggest purpose I had was to move into physical wellness. And when I was in physical wellness, I realized, oh, there's a bigger truth. I had become this physical wellness person, but there was a bigger truth. I had to move into my bigger truth. So I feel like the truth, your personal truth, don't try to get to the end right all at once, because it can evolve. You've got to let it evolve. You've got to let that truth keep unfolding and unveiling itself to you. So we've been through the first, 8. We've been through 8 already. Look at that. Fix your posture. Care for yourself the way you care for others. Stick with people who want the best for you. Improve your own game and playing instead of playing others. Teach your children to abide by society's rules. And again, a big red X on that one. Get your house in order before criticizing others. Don't criticize others. Focus on a higher purpose, not instant gratification. Maybe it's just the wording. And then find and live your personal truth. I am down with that one. I'm totally down with your personal truth. When we come back from the break, by the way, come back with me after the break. Don't tune out. We've still got 4 more rules. I'm using rules in quotation marks. Remember Pirates of the Caribbean? They're more like guidelines. You're going to listen to, I'm going to talk about the last 4 rules and give you some ideas on what to do if you're finding yourself stuck in rules that maybe aren't serving you. I am Heather. This is Illuminate Your Worth on the Inspired Choices Network. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a moment.
What if your too much was actually your superpower? On Illuminate Your Worth, Heather Stewart guides you back to your truth with coaching, mindset shifts, and powerful conversations designed to light up every corner of your life, from career and creativity to wellness and worth. Tune in weekly and discover how to stop surviving and start thriving on your own terms. Listen to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart on the Inspired Choices Network and wherever you get your podcasts.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
You're listening to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart. Want to connect live during the show? Join the studio audience in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send questions or coaching requests to info@heatherstewart.coach. Let's get back to today's episode and your path to a thriving life.
Yes, definitely send me an email, friends. You can always send me an email, info@heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to heatherstewart.coach, there's stuff over there for you to explore. Lots of fun things. I'm not going to give it away. Yes, I will. There's lots of fun things over there. Check out the quiz. That's the best. And if you are still with me, thanks for hanging out. Yay! Illuminate Your Worth on the Inspired Choices Network. And that's where you can probably pop over and give us a little review. Would love a little 5-star from you. That would be amazing, because then we can share with more people, right? This is one of those things. The more stars you have, the more people think that you're awesome. So star me away, friends, star away. We are talking about the rules for life. We've been through 8 of them, right? We've been through 8. We have 4 more. So number 9, learn to be a good listener. And we hear this one a lot, and this one is important. It's especially important for coaches, but I think it's super important for humans. And I didn't totally know what listening was when I first entered the world, obviously, of accounting and things. And I developed my understanding of it over time. And being a good listener does not mean that while the person is talking, that you're already working on your response, right? Which happens so much. And I do catch myself doing it. I do catch myself because my brain goes, oh, yeah. And it pops around and starts coming up with all these ideas and things to say. And I have to pause it and say, no, this isn't a response time right now. And we practiced this a lot in various workshops and retreats that I've been to. One of the things you practice, and for some people it can be really overwhelming, is you sit face to face with a human being who you probably don't know, and they tell you a story about something that has happened to them. And you're not supposed to respond. You're not even supposed to make a facial gesture. It's hard not to go, make faces to some of the stories they tell. You're supposed to just be there and hold the space and let them speak into the space. And that is practice, friends. That is practice at listening. That is practice at being present. So being present is listening to what the person is saying without formulating their solution. Maybe they don't want a solution. Maybe they just want you to listen. It's being present without forming oh yeah, I had that happen to me. I had this friend for a while we called the one-upper. He doesn't know this. And he's one of those people that I'm not friends with any longer. No matter what story you told, he could one-up you. And he usually started one-upping you before you were done your story. So I feel a little bit bad about it now, but we used to make things up to see if he could one-up it. And he could always one-up it. Now, maybe his life was that epic, but just let the person speak. Be present and listen. Learn. It's a practice. Learn to be a good listener. Number 10, Define your problem precisely to make it manageable. This is a very concrete kind of step. Christine, you kill me. Christine's my angel in the background today. So number 10, define your problem precisely to make it manageable. And this is, I don't know that I would have made this a rule, but it's a really good guideline, right? If something's wrong, you've got to really get a grip on what it is. You got to define what it is. You need to look at it from all directions. You need to say, what is this thing? If you have this vague, uneasy feeling, how are you gonna find a solution to that? It's where did that vague, uneasy feeling come from? What's creating it? If you find what's creating it, then you can find a solution for it. And that's by finding, he says, problem, challenge, invitation to something new. But there's a coach I know who said that if you're not getting the right answers, you're asking the wrong questions. I love that quote. So it's like define, fine tune, and define your problem and make it manageable. Christine has a rule in her life, which is called get a grip, by the way. Is that for you or for them? So defining your problem. And you know what? Sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes it's hard to define your problem precisely. This is why I actually have a few coaches. I have a few coaches for different purposes because they all have different strengths. And like I said, I am not one size fits all. So I have people who help me and I go, I've got this problem. And we unpack it and we figure out a way to approach it. So I like this one. Define precisely. Number 11. This is interesting. Accept that inequality exists. So the first thing that I think of is I'm just going to call it the woke community. And sometimes I feel like the woke community has maybe lost their way a little bit because now everything upsets them. Now, I'm not asking them to accept. So accept that inequality exists because it's always going to exist. Maybe not. No, because the world that I'm creating it's not going to exist in the world that I'm creating. But it does exist currently, and it's going to take me a little while to create this new world, right? But inequality does currently exist. And I accept that it exists, but I don't accept that it has to stay that way. So it does exist. There are people who make more money. There are people, quality or inequality. I accept that sorry, Christine, accept that inequality exists. And it does exist. And there are people who, we talk about the 1% all the time, right? And there's people who have more money. There are people who have less money. There are people who have more intelligence. There's people who have more strength. There are people who have different challenges because of various things. Maybe they're sight impaired. Maybe they are physically impaired. Maybe they are mentally have some challenges. So there is inequality in the way that we measure the human life, the physical human life. And so I do accept that it exists, but I don't accept that it has to stay that way. Because if you accept that it exists and you accept that that's just the way it is. What's that song? Steve Winwood, That's Just the Way It Is. If you accept that that's just the way it is, then nothing ever gets any better. So why change anything? Like, why even bother? That's just the way it is. I don't like that. That doesn't resonate for me. That means that if that was true, then I would still be an accountant. Or if that was true, um, I mean, if I look at my family, if that was true, I never would have gone to university because I'm the only one of the four of us who went to university. You know, that's just the way it is. We aren't a university family. It's like, what? What's that show? That movie from India, that guy, Bombay, no, something or other millionaire, Mumbai millionaire. The guy who said, yes, I grew up in the slums in Delhi, but I don't accept that that is the way it has to be. I'm going to make a change and I'm going to go, make something of myself. All of the success stories are of people who have climbed, who have built something bigger than them, are people who said, yes, I accept that I may not have the same advantages or resources or fill in the blank of other people. I accept that that exists, but I don't accept it has to stay that way. So maybe go read the book and expand on that one. Accept that inequality exists, right? Okay, I should have read the book. Yeah, we all make mistakes. Okay, so number 12. I like number 12. Take time to appreciate the good things in life. Hell yeah. That might have even could have been number 3. You know, I would just move the order around a little bit. Number 3. So this is actually number 12. Take time to appreciate the good things in life. And thinking about criticizing others, don't judge other people for what they think the good things are in life. My brother likes fishing. He likes his boat, he likes his ATVs, he likes fishing. And I get it. My grandfather taught me to fish. I used to fish, but that's not what I choose to do these days. For me, the good things in life are different than they were when I was a little kid. He still likes to fish, and that's him taking his grandkids out to teach them how to fish. And I think that's awesome. I don't want, I know that's not my good thing. So while you're appreciating your good thing in life, don't let people bring you down about what your good things are. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. And don't judge other people by what their good things are, because it's none of your business what they enjoy, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, right? As long as, remember my 2 rules, breathing and no pain. Don't, maybe I should add number 3, and don't hurt other people if you can help it. So that's the 12 of them. I'm just going to say them really quick. Fix your posture as he's defined them. Fix your posture. Care for yourself the way you care for others. Stick with people who want the best for you. Improve your own game instead of playing others. Teach your children to abide by society's rules. I just have a big problem with that one. Get your house in order before criticizing others. Focus on a higher purpose, not instant gratification. Find and live your personal truth. Learn to be a good listener. Define your problem precisely to make it manageable. Accept that inequality exists and take time to appreciate the good things in life. So those are Jordan Peterson's. Christine has just asked me, what about the golden rules? Is that like please and thank you? I remember there's golden rules. Saying please and thank you, that's a good rule, because then you are being respectful of other humans, which I do agree with, treating everyone with respect. So those are his 12 rules. Love one as another as you would have them love you. See? That's a good one. Love one another as you would have them love you. No, but you have to love yourself. That's kind of rule number 2. Care for yourself. I could riff off that. I could get those to combine together. So those are his 12 rules in his book. And you can see that it's not a one size fits all. Do unto others. Yep, do unto others, right? That's another way of saying it. But what if instead of rules, because rules are very rigid, right? Rules are so rigid. We're going to come back and we're talking about how to use rules, how to make your own rules, and live your life by your rules. I am Heather. This is Illuminate Your Worth. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. We're talking about rules. We're going to talk more about rules right after this break. So please stick with me and come back. I will see you in a minute.
What if your too much was actually your superpower? On Illuminate Your Worth, Heather Stewart guides you back to your truth with coaching, mindset shifts, and powerful conversations designed to light up every corner of your life, from career and creativity to wellness and worth. Tune in weekly and discover how to stop surviving and start thriving on your own terms. Listen to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart on the Inspired Choices Network and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Illuminate Your Worth with Heather Stewart. Want to connect live during the show? Join the studio audience in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send questions or coaching requests to info@heatherstewart.coach. Let's get back to today's episode and your path to a thriving life.
Who remembers? I think was it CSI? No, NCIS. And the guy who was in charge of NCIS, he had rules. Gibbs, the rules of Gibbs. He had life rules. And he lived pretty strongly by his rules. So today we're talking about life rules, but he's a TV character, okay? He's just a TV character, not real. We are on Illuminate Your Worth on the Inspired Choices Network, and we're talking about rules and why sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and how to have your own rule book. And I'm talking about, I was talking about how when we're helping people, one of the things, like one of the rules that Jordan Peterson had was being a good listener. And it made me think about, I have coached people who had very funny rules about how they needed to be. And when we unpacked it, it came from someone else and it came from something that they had learned as a little kid. So if you have a rule that's holding you from being your best self, maybe you just need someone to help you unpack it, right? Maybe you just need someone to help you unpack it. Or when you're, one of the things that I have actually right now, I have this thing called Coach in Your Pocket. And I want to invite you to go investigate that because it's super accessible and it does not require you to book, to wait. People don't like to wait for meetings talking about, not having instant gratification. But sometimes you need that instant answer. So Coach in Your Pocket is access to me on WhatsApp 6 days a week, right? Heather, oh my God. Yeah, I get those messages. Heather, oh my God, this just happened. So we have a discourse about it. And I love it. Coach in Your Pocket. Oh my goodness. WhatsApp, the best, because no matter where I am, I have Coach in Your Pocket. Even in Egypt, I had it. When I was in Scotland, I had it. When I was in Jordan, I had it. When I was in Mexico, I had it. So people can reach me. I know. I do carve out time for myself. Don't worry. Yes, if you need some help to unpack things, info@heatherstewart.coach. Just pop me an email and we can talk about how to best help you. So rules are very rigid. Rules are very rigid. And even though he's written this book, he's saying, these are the rules for life. What if they aren't the right rules for your life? So what you want to do is, what rules are you going to follow for your life? Be intentional about your choice. And what I find funny is he says, improve your own, somewhere in here, maybe it's improve your game instead of playing others. Well, if his game is these 12 rules and he's telling me not to blindly follow these rules, then is that a contradiction? So don't blindly follow rules. Feel them out. Decide what rules fit you. And you're allowed to change the rule book. It's your rule book. What is your game going to look like? What rule are you going to live by? One of my rules, well, you know what? It's not even a rule. I have more guidelines. I have principles that I live by. Making my bed every morning because it's consistent. Are there mornings I haven't made the bed? Yes, there are, which is like a rule is something you always have to do. The principle is I'm going to do it all the time, except sometimes I'm not going to. So it just happens, So I don't want you to reject every rule in the world. I don't want you to start running red lights. I don't want you to cross when the light's red, although sometimes I do that. I don't want you to run stop signs. I don't want you to, push the red button when it says don't push the red button. I want you to question why. I want you to think about what is the purpose for this rule? What is the purpose for this rule? What is it serving? Who is it serving? Is it helpful? And then if it's not helpful, if it's not serving, if it doesn't have a good reason. When I worked in corporate, I had this lady who worked for me who I was trying to help her, and I asked her why she did something, and she said that's the way we'd always done it. And that made my hair light on fire because she didn't want to change. She didn't want to think about a different way to do things. I'm like, that's crazy. So try it on. And if it doesn't work, and if it's not going to help you, and if it doesn't hurt anyone else by rejecting it, reject that rule. Pew. So put in your own rule. Put in a rule that works for you. Put in a rule that you're going to drink 2 liters of ish water a day. Put in a rule that you're going to get 8, maybe, and rules like I'm saying it and I'm resisting it. I'm just letting you know. I'm completely resisting putting in rules. I live by guidelines because I am that child who my mother, if she wanted me to do something, she'd have to tell me to do the opposite because I push against anything where someone tells me I have to do something. And it serves me sometimes, most of the time. So instead of just saying no and pushing against something now, I evaluate. If someone says do this, I say why instead of no. Why is a much better answer than no. When someone says there's a rule, yes, rules should be like science. Exactly, Christine. Rules should be like science, reviewed on a regular basis. So if someone says I have to do something, my question is why, not no. My answer is not no anymore. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I still say no. So I want you to look at your life and what cage have you put yourself in with the rule that you think you have to follow? This isn't a quick exercise necessarily because some of them won't show up until you're in the situation. Some of them won't show up until you go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Did you see that? I just followed a rule I didn't even know I was following. And if you're still not sure, you know where to find me, right? heatherstewart.coach. There are questions on there. There's a quiz on there to help you unpack maybe some of where you're getting in your own way, or maybe a way to get yourself started even better. There is a way to get yourself started on there. And if you want to have a conversation, I am here. I am here. Send me a message. There's even a link on there where you can book an appointment with me and we can have a conversation. I don't bite. That's one of my rules, no biting. Right? And I would love to tell you what next week's is, but I don't know what it is right now. So we'll get to that later. But I would love you to pop over to your favorite podcast platform, give us a review. I would love if you even sent me a private message. Even if you don't want to have a meeting with me, just pop me a message. I would love to hear from you and hear your thoughts about the podcast because I am doing this to help you find your best way. Find your best way. I'm here to I'm just here to turn on the lights. I'm not deciding your path. I'm just turning on the lights, right? So, my friend, thank you for joining me on Illuminate Your Worth on the Inspired Choices Network. Take very good care of yourselves, and I will see you again next week. Yes, take care.
Thank you for tuning into Illuminate Your Worth. Heather Stewart will be back next week to help you shift your mindset, reclaim your joy, and build a life that fits you. Catch the next episode on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific. Until then, take one inspired step today and keep shining.